Asia Smith, and my group and I identified and attempted to resolve the issue of students in the classroom exchanging inappropriate text messages and pictures. I first began by defining the problem. Many students in America's schools today are unaware of the detrimental impact their poor judgment may have on their futures. One of the most common issues teachers and parents face is the exchange of inappropriate text messages and photos among students during instructional time. Next, I identified the scope of the problem. Although students are considered to be the culprits of this issue, the scope of the problem is not limited to them. Teachers, parents, and the school system are also held responsible when such issues arise. This means that without action to intercede such inappropriate behavior, all parties will face the consequences. My group and I determined that the best solution would be to allow students to take part in a learning course that educates them about the consequences of not being responsible on the internet. These lessons will include surveys, pre- and post-test evaluations, and in-class materials. This solution method would ultimately be integrated into schools' educational curriculum. This solution eliminates any poor parenting or lack of structure in the classroom from the student's life by guaranteeing that the students become more familiar with internet safety. My partner Alex Owen will now discuss the lesson plan.
Thanks, Asia. All right, so my name is Alex once again, and I will be going over the lesson example that we are going to be provided. Now, this specific lesson is going to cover from the point of view of the student. So this will be happening during a class day, during a specific elective course. Usually, think of it more along the lines of taking a health class and having teen advisors come in. Something like that. So a third-party instructor would come in for this specific class, and the class would start, and at the very beginning, after attendance would be taken, the Google survey would be administered, and that would only take about 10 minutes. Now, this pretest would have about 5 questions, and it would just be very basic situations of maybe some that the school already has reported, or some hypothetical ones that the administration would rather in the future not want to face. But regardless, just to see the climate of where these students are starting when it comes to understanding of internet permanence and internet literacy as a whole. Now, after these first 10 minutes, the first scenario will be introduced by the teacher, and they will be walked through the scenario with the teacher to help kind of lead them down the right path. They will ask some questions, for example, should Johnny send this text to this person or should he shut it down? But overall, this scenario is going to be led by the teacher to kind of give it as an example of what's properly to do. After this, there will be a quick little 5-minute review. The first scenario should only take about 20 minutes with proper questions time being asked, or at least being given to ask. But after this, it will be a quick 5-minute section to review the pretest answers. Now, the pretest does not have a section to where you would have to fill in your name, so that way it can remain completely anonymous for the students. But it is a chance for the teacher to go over the students' answers and walk it through the class, explain, where they went wrong and where they could have improved, or if they did get it right, why they got that answer right. Now, after this is scenario number 2. This one is without the teacher's aid. It'll take about another 20 minutes. The students will write out their answers, and then they'll go around the room and ask what they would have done in this second scenario, and then the teacher will then step in and explain to the class. We try to figure out, with the class's help, mainly letting the students take the lead. That is the big part about this lesson, is eventually letting the students come to their own conclusions of the right path to follow. And after that is done, there will be a quick post-test survey that'll take about 10 minutes. Just like the pre-test survey, it'll have only a couple of questions, but they will be different scenarios than they had discussed before or in the pre-test beforehand, just so that way it isn't about getting the right answer. It's just about seeing if they learned it. And after that, the class would end. Now, this next slide is just covering a couple of example scenarios. For example, this first one is going to be with the teacher. Rebecca is a sophomore in high school and is dating Mark. Rebecca and Mark have various inappropriate conversations over text. They break up a month later, and little does Rebecca know, but Mark saved all her messages. Months later, Rebecca is applying for a job but gets denied due to Mark's posting their conversations on social media. The manager saw these messages, and because of it, Rebecca didn't get hired. Where did Rebecca go wrong? Now, the main thing about these scenarios is to help focus on the long term effects of the internet. It is very easy for teenagers nowadays to get caught up in what is going on in the now, and they can lose sight of, hey, if they do this, then it will impact their future. That's what the main goal of each of these scenarios. And hopefully, with a couple of lessons underneath their belt, they'll be able to do this next scenario without the teacher. Bobby is talking to Nick about a party this weekend where they will both know inappropriate behavior will most likely happen. Nick is talking about how he wants to record and post all the crazy things that may happen there. What should Bobby do? Now, this one is a little bit more vague in the sense that it does not go as much into the future. It's leaving it up to the students to infer that maybe if they record these things, it will ruin somebody's life down the line. If they do post all of the things, then maybe somebody won't get a job. Maybe some couples will break up. Maybe someone will lose a scholarship because they had these very inappropriate things posted on social media. And that's the main goal with these lessons for the students. And I hope that this project summary was well informative. I want to thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.